This is BBC World News Today with me, Zainab Badawi. As government speaks, and the secret stand-up clubs, how comedians in Saudi Arabia are getting round bans on public entertainment.
There are some things we can't talk about in Saudi Arabia. And I said, well, what, enlighten me. And he said, well, it's, sex, drugs, politics, rock and roll, male, female, gender jokes, and royal family. I said, well, that's all the funny stuff. But
hello and welcome. Countries with well-established... In Saudi Arabia, cinemas and many forms of public entertainment are still banned, and it's prohibited for men and women to socialise in public. So it's not the sort of place you'd expect to find stand-up comedy. But some organisers are setting up events at secret locations away from the religious police, as Ben Thompson now reports from one event near Jeddah.
What's up, Jeddah? We took it this far so the hell won't find us.
Here in Saudi Arabia, getting a laugh isn't easy, especially when the joke is on the Mutarin, the country's ultra-conservative religious police. And in a country where public entertainment is still banned and men and women can't mix in public, it's not just the jokes that are controversial.
What do you mean? Is there something new? Of course there is. What is it? Transparent abaya.
So much so, organisers have to find remote locations well away from the police. In the past, they've used football pitches and golf courses. This one is on a beach and now outside Jeddah. But even now, they're keen we don't say exactly where.
And then you've got the Iranian leader talking on the same topic.
But despite the precautions, there are still risks, and many subjects remain off limits.
when I did my first ever show, the guy said, well, listen, I know that you're a very funny guy, but there are some things we can't talk about in Saudi Arabia. And I said, well, what, enlighten me. And he said, well, it's, sex, drugs, politics, rock and roll, male, female, gender jokes, and royal family. I said, well, that's all the funny stuff. But we've proved since then that you can, apart from those, you can actually still have a comedy act.
Yeah, before I went there, I thought everybody had that posh, sophisticated accent.
But for comedians from overseas, more used to poking fun at national stereotypes or government ministers, that isn't easy. The headline act here, Canada's Sugar Sammy, is on his first trip to the country. He's trying to tread the fine line between what is and isn't acceptable.
It's pretty much a joke-by-joke basis. So I go, are they going with me? All right, great, I can take that next step. Are they going to go with me on this one? Okay, perfect. And then sometimes it's like, ooh, I don't know, that might have been too far, let's back it up a little. So, the cultural reference points and what's acceptable is always different, everywhere.
So what did the audience make of the humour? Did any of the jokes tonight cause offence?
Not really, because of the venue, because they took us far away and it was kind of, allowed, so they would go as far as they could.
Some jokes which, crossed the Saudi lines, which was a bit harsh.
I was telling some of the comedians that they were kind of tuning down because usually they had more vulgar languages. Yeah.
The comedians on stage tonight come from the UK, Canada, and here in Saudi Arabia, so there is homegrown talent here too. But it does remain a very niche business. There are just 450 people here tonight, and they've each paid more than $70 a ticket. But the organisers hope that the more events like this that they stage, the more Saudi Arabia will come to embrace stand-up comedy.
If you can laugh at yourself and laugh with others, it's very difficult to hate. So it really does break down cultural barriers and divides. And if you've been to our show last night, that's a typical show where you have people from all nationalities, a mixture of religions and backgrounds. We had Hindus, Christians and Muslims at the same venue, all laughing at the same jokes. So it really does break down barriers.
And back at the show, there is just time for the comedians to meet their fans. For some, of course, it is just a photo. But for others, it will be a reminder of a night when Saudi Arabia came closer to embracing the outside world. Ben Thompson, BBC News, near Jeddah, Saudi Arabia.
Gosh, $70 a ticket. The jokes better be good. A reminder now of our top story.